Margaret Beckett, who was the Secretary of State for Education, opened the centre in 2003. And we'd got all the latest technology, we'd got computers, scanners, everything, you name it, we'd got it. All through grants, all through fundraising. And then as time went on and more people got into computers, the classes decreased. And we got a little heritage room upstairs that we collected stuff that people donated to us. And that got bigger, the bookcases got fuller. We actually got a grant to employ a heritage manager, and eventually we brought the whole thing downstairs and the computer suites. I'm not saying they vanished, but they got smaller. So we redeveloped the Heritage Centre. We got a grant from the Heritage Lottery to buy, to set up a new venture, something else that was more akin to the history of the village. And we encouraged people to come in and volunteer, and here we are today.
I've been here since 2013. I first came to research my grandfather in the First World War, and I've been here ever since, because you get the bug. And that's it, once you've got the bug, that's it, you keep carrying on and doing things. That's how it's all started.
I was born and brought up here. My father was headmaster for 30 plus years. Then I have first-hand knowledge, if you like, of the history, no, that part of the history. I don't go quite back to the 1800s, but the last 50, 60 years is first-hand knowledge.
As the village has grown, I've been here 34 years, and this is where I will stay. And the amazing amount of history there is in this village, you can never stop learning about it. There is so much for a tiny village like this, or was a tiny village.
We run entirely on volunteers now. We have no paid workers. We all do different jobs. We've all got different expertise. We open 3 days a week, but in the future we've got 2 more days. We're going to open, we've had more volunteers come forward. So we're the only really civic building in the village, and we get people from all over the world contact us for information.
And it's a beautiful, quaint little village, but it has a lot of history, doesn't it?
Oh, heck aye. Yes, from Roman times. The Roman coins and so on that have been found locally. So there was a Roman settlement here through Anglo-Saxon and through all the various periods, Norman and medieval, etc., right the way through to the present day.
The vast amount of history what's in Barlborough is unbelievable, and I don't think people realise how much history there is in Barlborough and what we've got here.
It is a heritage centre, and it's such a heritage to us, and it is addictive, and it does get to your soul. It really does. We do get somebody through the doors. They nearly always want to come back. A lot of the times there's history that I don't know about that John does. So if anybody comes through the doors, I'll automatically say to them, if you come back another day, John, and what John does, I'll let John know. John researches it all, so that when they come, they can sit at the table and you know that he's got it all there and of what they want. And it's just amazing how many times that then they'll just keep coming back.
And I only actually came to visit the centre about 6 weeks ago, believe it or not, and I was amazed at all the information that you've seen today, the information that people want from the centre. And we've just recently retired just after Christmas. I thought it was a great opportunity for me to sort of volunteer my time to be able to help Norma and the team. I'm just staggered by the amount of information that's on offer, but also the amount of information that Norma and the team have in their head. You know, it's remarkable, and they know people. If they don't know it, they know somebody else who does know it. And I think it's a great facility for the village, you know, to utilise. And I get the impression that perhaps everybody in the village doesn't know it's still here, and that will, you know, hopefully I'll be able to contribute in making the centre, you know, more focal for everyone.
I think in some ways it's an age thing, dare I say, because as you get older, the future gets less and less, but the history, the past, gets greater and greater. So I find myself now thinking and getting interested in things that years ago I would never have dreamt I would be interested in. But when you come across it like this, then it reawakens all your original interests, and it does provide a very homely, friendly, welcoming place to come and find out more about you, your history, and the history of the village.
I come in, I go through the cash, the donations, the sales, everything that's coming in and out of the bank, and I work out how much money we have left over, how much we're bringing in from sales and donations, and break it down so they know what's coming in and from where and what's working. I look at the grants and see what money's coming from the grants and how that's being spent. I find it fascinating, really. I love coming in here and like nosying around everything, and I love looking at the old pictures. Yeah, my grandma's always shown me a lot over years from here anyway. So, but yeah, it's really interesting.
We've all got a positive attitude, and you've got to, you just can't stand still. And there's always something new. I mean, there isn't a week goes past without somebody comes in, brings us a new photograph, or shows us something new that we hadn't learnt ourselves. So, you know, it's all ongoing.
People do know that we have got a lot of leaflets here for walks, and we're getting more and more and more, and the interest is, and because I always was here on a Saturday morning, every Saturday morning, that was the main thing we used to get through the door, people calling in on a Saturday morning for these leaflets. So I do know quite a lot about these.
Keith, you've just shown me a book of the tour of Old Barlborough. Tell me what that means and what it entails.
Well, 2 or 3 months ago, I was asked if I could produce something that people who are visiting Barlborough for the first time, or only for perhaps a short period, could have some sort of literature that would give them some information about the centre of the village, because in the centre of the village there are a lot of listed buildings, for example. So the architecture, the history of the village is encapsulated, if you like, within a very small area of the village centre. So we thought it would be rather nice to do something where we could just give somebody something that was easy to read, quick to have a look at, and there are instructions where to walk. So you can walk around the village centre. It would take probably best part of an hour, I would think, or just a bit less. But in there, I've written a little bit about all the really interesting buildings, like the old hall and so on. The history of this village is really second to none. I don't know of another village in the area, certainly, that has the history that this village has.
Can I put you on the spot for your favourite area within the tour? Your favourite location?
I think we'll be standing in front of the church, looking across the old village green and at the village, you know, spread out, as it were, in front of you.
Lovely.
That's my favourite part of the village, is it's the old part.
You're a better man than I am, because I was going to say the pub, so I thought you were...
Well, secretly, I'll tell you that afterwards.
That's right.
We strive to get a lot of people through the doors that live in Barlborough, and you'll be surprised how many people will walk in here and say, do you know, I've never been in. Or they might have popped in for a walk leaflet, but never come through this door. And when they come through this door, it's like, wow. And it's like a TARDIS, really, because they can't imagine the amount of stuff and the amount of history we hold here. And it's just an amazing place to be.
Come and visit this heritage centre, because people come in and they think, they just look and they just go, wow, what have you got here? And the Americans come and they say, has every village got one of these? And they say, no.
We would always want to welcome anybody and everybody who has an interest in Barlborough. It doesn't have to be a particular interest, or it doesn't have to be of great knowledge or anything like that, but just maybe a casual passing interest. Maybe because they originate from the village themselves. And we find a lot of those who poke their heads in and just take one look and go, wow, I didn't realise you've got all this here. You know, we must come back again. And a lot do.
It's a great function here for people to come and learn about the history of Barlborough, and I think they'll be fascinated with the information that they will find out. So for me, it's please come along, you know, and see what we've got on, you know, on offer for you.
Oh, pop in, there's loads to see, and all the volunteers here are really knowledgeable and really helpful and friendly and lovely. They'll help you out with anything. You can come in, have a look round. There's some really, really fascinating things here. So pop in and see us. You can always phone or email as well.
Come in and have a cup of tea with us. And once they're in the building, they don't want to leave. You know, there's so much information that they can gain. And, you know, we want it to be a welcoming place, you know, where people can just pop in. I mean, most days we have dog walkers come in and, you know, we even give treats to the dogs. So, yeah, I think it is looking bright.